Hey traders, welcome and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing something completely new and innovative on this channel. Today, we are going to be interviewing one of the industry's biggest and best CEOs of the prop firm industry. We have him here in person. He's going to be taking us through and explaining some of the issues concerning the prop firm industry, how it's changing, and what we have to expect within the next couple of years and next couple of months. He's also going to be dropping a couple of gems here and there for us as beginner traders to remain profitable in this industry in the year 2024. So in today's section, we are going to be interviewing the one and only Blake Olsen, who is the CEO and owner of the Smart Prop Trader company, and I'm super excited to have him here today. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's been such a remarkable person so far. So in today's section, we're just going to be discussing some of the problems concerning the prop firm industry, and we know how the industry has been changing over these past couple of months, especially within this year 2024. We've seen so much change. So having him here to shed some light on some of these issues for us would be super helpful. So let me just take it away. Blake, can you briefly just tell us a little about yourself and how you got started as a trader and as the prop firm industry as a whole?
Yeah, so I actually got started in the prop firm industry as a trader just like everyone else, and I was originally trading with FTMO as my very first prop firm that I ever used. I was suggested that by one of my employees actually, because I was running a trading mentorship program after I got pretty good at trading. After that developed, I started actually doing exactly what you're doing now, interviewing other prop firm founders, CEOs, and posting those onto my YouTube channel, Trade Connect EVS. And then after that, I ended up starting the Funded Trader, and then even later, I started Smart Prop Trader, and that's how we got here today.
Okay, so from what you just said, it means you were a trader in the past and you've diverted to basically the business of trading itself. So what would you say would be the difference between the business side of trading and being a trader and running your own prop firm and being an active trader? What would you say the differences would be?
It's actually a pretty big difference. The whole idea of running a company in general, really no matter what you're doing, is going to be so much different than being a completely independent trader. As a trader, you definitely have a little bit more freedom because there's next to no one, if not anyone, relying on you. Whereas when you take on a business and you have many employees, you then take on that role and responsibility and have to have these meetings and have all sorts of things that you wouldn't think about until you actually go into it, much more details than just the meetings. But that basically is where this venture has gone for me, as well as I think any business venture would deviate from the prop firm trader side to be on this side of things. It's also so cool to see both, to have experienced both sides of being a prop firm trader and then also now a prop firm owner, and now I even help other up and coming prop firm owners, help them start their own prop firms as well.
I'm just thinking out loud here. So that means you have to have your systems really in place as an industry manager, because even as a trader, you have to have your systems in place. So if you have to break down your time like this, aside from running the prop firm, you have to do other activities on the side. That means you have to have some systems in place. Would you like to take us through some of these day-to-day systems that you have for mostly your time management, and that helps you become more consistent and productive in your day? I mean, just help us out, those of us who are struggling with our time management.
Yeah, so as pretty much the top of the organization, as the CEO, I don't do too many of the day-to-day things. I have a wonderful, amazing team that takes care of most of the things that actually go on day to day, and it's more about me at this point managing those people, along with looking for new people for new roles or improving people's roles. Things of that nature is really what it all turns into once you become a much larger prop company owner rather than just a unique small startup.
So thank you so much for just letting us know, taking us through that. And to become a prop firm trader, to become a funded trader, what would you say would be the steps you need to go through aside from passing the challenge? Like, what are the significant steps we need to go through?
Yeah, so first of all, you got to hear about Forex, you got to hear about prop firms, you got to know about what you're doing, do your own research about the whole thing first. As soon as you do your own research, you have to actually get good at trading. If you're no good at trading, as soon as you start your challenge, you're just going to fail. So you have to actually hone in on your skills first before you start your challenge. And then once you start your challenge, you have to adhere to your working trading strategy and stick to it. I see so many traders as a prop firm owner that have great strategies, and maybe they'll even use it for the entire phase one, maybe even the entire phase two as well. But then as soon as they get funded, they switch everything up. They get a whole new mindset. I'm funded now. Now I can do whatever I want. And then they just end up losing their accounts. And that's not what we want to see. We want to see you, if you have a proven strategy, just use that strategy rather than trying to mix things up.
I don't know if you're talking about me, but I felt you were talking about me right there. So I just wanted to know, okay, and I'm sure others want to know, in your opinion, as a leading prop firm in the industry so far, what would you say makes up, a reputable prop firm company that, as retail traders, we can trust and be willing to invest our money in?
Unfortunately, it's becoming harder and harder to actually determine which companies are legitimate, which ones are not. And this is really where I'm excited for some type of regulation to come into play, just so that we as prop firm owners know what are the rules. Because as it stands right now, there really aren't any super clear rules of which we need to play by. And I don't want to get into a situation where we have regulation that's only coming about through litigation. That's not what we want at all. Rather, I'd love for the regulators to just say, here's what we have to do. Please stay within these guidelines and not these ones. And if you do that, you're fine. If not, then we're going to have a problem. That would be so much better.
Yeah.
And make it so much easier to tell you which ones are legitimate and which ones aren't. That being said, I think that if you go with some of the older, really reputable companies that have great review scores, that people such as yourself and other professional reviewers speak highly of, then those tend to be the ones that are actually going to be legitimate. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on the overall user ratings on websites such as Trustpilot. Although SmartProp does have I believe a 4.8 on Trustpilot, a very high score, one of if not the highest out there. I still don't recommend using Trustpilot because unfortunately those scores can be manipulated for all prop firms. And they unfortunately do. So I would definitely stick to people that actually know their stuff and will actually dive deep and do the research like Terry.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So, actually, while you were speaking, you mentioned something about regulations, and I'd like us to slightly move back to that. And you were talking about some prop firms having... Okay, you didn't mention it, but I know this, that some prop firms have some unrealistic, promises. Yes, like some are promising 100% profit splits and over 200% refunds on your accounts after you've gotten funded. All these things are going slightly above and beyond as... like when it comes to the whole prop firm industry. And what's your take on that? Is the smart prop trader looking to dive into some of these, or you're going to stick to the rules and regulations?
So what you're talking about there is the trading conditions, either the payout percentage or other aspects that really can set a prop firm apart. And I am thankful that there are some prop firms out there that do have some of these really unique and extremely beneficial to the trader conditions out there. However, a lot of these prop firms are unfortunately not run by very good business people, and they think, oh, I want to offer the best thing out there, and it's just not, it doesn't end up being profitable. And then it's not even a regulation issue, it's not any sort of other issue, it's just an issue of them wanting to offer too good of a conditions and where it's no longer profitable for them to operate anymore. And that's very common. Sometimes you see them going over and beyond, where if you ever see someone offering like normal challenge prices for instant funding, that's an automatic red flag. I've seen many scams that do that. Those are the most obvious scams out there.
Looking at the data in the back end as the company, I'm sure you have access to that. Looking at the data, would you say investing in a prop firm versus trading your own live capital is profitable as your data? Because I've noticed, even I've personally gone through that, and several of my friends as traders have also gone through that. We've gone through series of prop firm accounts, and looking at that, if we had invested that money in our own live accounts and traded that through our own conditions that we are used to, we might have yielded more profits than investing it into prop firm. So in that sense, we tend to be losing more money than we are making. But in the long run, if you're able to pass the funded challenge, you tend to make, depending on your psychology, that is, you tend to make more. But what would you say as a leading industry? Would you recommend that we invest in these challenges, or take us through?
Yeah, so basically, I'd say that a rule of thumb in the industry is that a $100,000 challenge account will cost $500. And of course, you can go cheaper or more expensive from that as well if you want a larger or smaller account size. And if you just take that math, just because it's relatively round numbers to work with, provided that you do pass that account, you essentially have a $100,000 account with 1 to 100 leverage, which is amazing. That's going to let you do anything you want in terms of assets and get very specific on your risk management with so much leverage and also such a large account. Of course, you will have that maximum loss size of around $10,000 or so. So some people claim that it's roughly like a $10,000 account. That's not fully true because the leverage aspect as well, especially if you lose some money on the account, it's so much bigger. But anyways, if you have this account, provided that you pass, you essentially get at minimum $10,000 for only making, call it 15% on at the most from phase 1 plus phase 2. And you do have to adhere to the other risk managements and stuff, which I would say is not for everyone, but it is for most traders that are actually good and that are actually being profitable. I would say that prop firms definitely are the route to move.
Okay, so I wanted to find out what's the percentage currently as of this month and this year of 2024. What would be the average percentage of traders, funded traders, that have actually kept their account? Do you have that data? And would you be willing to share it with us?
I would.
Compared to those who purchased the account and those who are currently still keeping their accounts and trading their accounts as live traders.
Yeah, I definitely would be willing to share that. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I can say like an overall industry average. What you're going to see is that most traders that do get funded actually lose their account even in the very first month. But it's not a vast majority. It's more about 60 to 70% of traders will lose their account if they are funded in month 1 compared to month 2. So we do still have around that 30 to 40% of traders who get funded will keep their account moving forward from month 1 to month 2. Of course, that stat changes dramatically based off the prop firm and so many other factors out there, such as the trading conditions.
All right. But do you see any similarities between the traders that are keeping their accounts and those that are consistently losing their accounts?
Yes, there's many similarities, and I can definitely touch on that. It's something that I said earlier about you sticking to what actually works. You have a trading strategy. You just proved it with making on average up to 15% profit before losing 5% a day or 10% at the most. I'm using general industry stats, not the smart prop stats. Those are even better for those ones, of course, but you just did all this amazing work proving your strategy works. So just use that same strategy. And for whatever reason, we see so many traders changing their strategy once they're funded, and it almost never goes well. You should just use consistency, what actually works from your challenges for your live account.
And let me just chip in that as a trader point of view, and this all boils down to your mindset. I mean, my first payouts came with so much excitement, and all I wanted to do was buy something new for myself, and I was hoping to make double that amount because I had wanted some level of some. I had experienced some new lifestyle, so I was hoping to be able to keep that going. So in my next try, when I came to the account, I tried to double my profits, and that was how I lost. That was how I lost that funded account. But yes, um, would you say I've noticed from your rules and regulations and what Smart Prop Trader offers, and it says you support all forms of trading, and I wanted to find out if that's true. And if that's true, do you support EA trading, and how does that how do you go about that?
Yes, any sort of trading strategy is allowed. The only thing that's not allowed is the high frequency trading or the like super fast in and out trading, and I mean like really really fast. If you're, it's very black and white. It's very clear when someone's trying to take advantage of the demo environment. Normal traders have nothing to worry about whatsoever. If you're holding for multiple minutes at the minimum, then you're fine. It's really when it just comes down to a few seconds in and out, where they were able to profit off of. I've seen people do it same second. They're in and out of the market. And it's, of course, that's a clear example. If you're making money off that, you are using an arbitrage method that uses high frequency trading, and that is not allowed. But basically everything else is allowed under Smart Prop Trader.
All right. So as motivation to some of us traders, do you single out the best of the best in the prop firm trading industry? I mean, the smart prop traders, for those who rank maybe first, second in the trading per month. Do you single them out and maybe offer them certain or better trading conditions than the rest of the other traders on your platform, or everybody is everybody and we're all on the same level?
Yeah, we definitely treat everyone equal. I think that would be wrong to give a special conditions to only a few select amount of traders, but it is a unique and interesting idea. If there is a lot of demand for that and we're able to make it where it's still fair for everyone, then I would definitely consider something like that. But for the moment, we don't do anything of the sort.
But so how much is the most significant, largest amount of payouts that you have witnessed as a CEO?
Yeah, the largest one that SmartProp has given, the largest amount to a single trader is well over $300,000 to a single trader. Now that is over the course of several payouts, not just one, but each payout is pretty big. They're 20, 50,000, potentially even more than that.
But do you remember which country this trader was from?
This trader is in the U.S.
It's in the US. Okay, so the smart prop trader supports US based traders as well, because we've seen that some prop firms are cutting the US based traders out. So
Yes.
So to this day, what takes you by surprise in the industry to this day?
What takes me by surprise, I would say the way that a lot of the leadership of this industry acts online. It's very childish and unprofessional, and that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to get really, really far away from, to do the exact opposite of that kind of thing. Other than that, and there are a lot of other respectable professional CEOs out there. There's just a few bad apples that are kind of spoiling the bunch. And I have a lot of respect to the other CEOs and other market leaders in the prop trading space that are being professional and respectable people.
That's very true. I personally witnessed a CEO of a prop firm actually verbally insulting the other CEOs of other prop firm companies, and you as a industry leader, you are giving out this perception about, or negative perception about, other leaders, so it's just going to end up rubbing off on you as well. So I don't know. I wasn't too fond of that
Hmm.
particular experience.
I hope it
But
changes.
yeah, what you're saying is really true. Yeah. So, but would you say the prop firm industry is currently declining, or there's still hope for it?
Oh, it's massively increasing every single month. Huge increases. I mean, like maybe a 5 to 10% overall market increase in many months back to back, which maybe doesn't sound like a huge amount to a lot of people, but that scaled over time is absolutely massive. So the industry is very much alive and well.
Okay, so we are starting to wrap up the interview, but as a leader, no doubt you probably go through some form of hatred online, maybe in person by, some of us traders that end up losing our accounts because we spent money on it and we. So, how do you deal with this negativity? What's your mindset around that?
Yeah, I think it's very important to be extremely open to feedback, and especially when there is
But
some.
do you really experience that?
I would say most of the negativity is people that are sad that they lost their accounts, or maybe sad is not the right word, maybe more angry or a different similar word to that, that they lost their accounts and they want to take their frustration out on someone. And sometimes that is me, sometimes that's Ryan, sometimes that's someone else, a customer service representative, and it's not necessarily any of our faults that this person did the
Yeah,
actions that they
that's
did. It was their own fault for losing the account, nothing on our end, but they're looking for anything possible to blame. It is very, very rare where it is our account, and in those cases, we definitely do look to improve our systems as well as make it right for the trader when in the rare circumstance where we are actually in the wrong.
all right. So, if in a rare situation like that, you'd be willing to rectify everything.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
All right. So, let's quickly wrap up. Would you be willing to tell us something about the prop firm, about Smart Prop Trader that we don't currently know? Any new releases coming out? Any tips and tricks? Just any gems you can leave for us. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes. In terms of Smart Prop Trader, it is going to be the market leader in terms of technological excellence in the very, very near future. So, for example, we were about to launch the beta program. It's going to start out being free for everyone, and it's just going to be a free account. So there's no actual funding going on, just like a free trial. And then we're going to have the paid accounts for that, and then we're going to go live. As soon as we're live with it, that opens the floodgates. We're talking about many, many more trading platforms: CTrader, DXTrader, our own in-house one, and others perhaps as well. And we're going to have all these options for traders. Along with that, we're going to have new models, such as the one phase and many others as well. I don't want to give away too many secrets on this call, but there is a lot of things coming that I'm very, very excited about, and I'm sure you and your audience will really enjoy.
Thank you so much, Blake, for joining us in today's interview. And so far, I've enjoyed and I've learned so much from you. And I just hope that the next time that we reach out to you to join Terry Trades, our channel, you'd be willing to do so. Thank you so much. And we hope to be seeing you and to be seeing the Smart Prop Trader go along with us to the end of the year and for many, many years to come. Thank you so much for taking time out of a busy schedule to join us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thankful for being on the channel and looking forward to being on here again.